There is nothing positive for me now in my A space except for quitting and moving to B. Nothing can bring me from A to B now. I am stuck at A1. That's the only place I'll ever stay now. The only way I can improve is to go straight to B. So I truly think it's now or never for me. The circumstances that I just learned about myself and my situation has gotten to the point where I can't really go down anymore. I used to be in a pretty decent position. Now I'm like as far down as I can go, and it's not going to get better. So as of recently and yesterday, one of my coworkers let me know that he was going to be quitting in a month. Now, if you guys haven't been following my journey, I'm trying to build an AI agency, but at the same time, I'm also working, a shift job. So I'm working, 12-hour days. As of recently, I was very lucky that, I was able to have like a certain set throughout the week. I was still working very long hours, but it was a certain set. I could have my schedule around that, my routine around that. And it was pretty good for me. Now, my coworker quitting and how this relates to this, which I will get in a second, but this throws a very big wrench into my routine, into my plan, into my function, and the output that I'm going to be able to put out. Now, I'll start this kind of from the beginning so you guys get an understanding of where I'm coming from. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say my experience and what I'm experiencing right now. I'm sure that some of you will relate to this. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give how I'm going to manage it, how I've managed it in the past that you guys can take for lessons as yourself. So I've been working a shift job. I'm a tradesman. I'm an engineer. So I'm working a shift job since December, but at this current job that I've really been focused on since the end of April. Now, in that time, I've been pretty lucky. Back in April and May, I was having to work some night shifts, which kind of sucked. But since like June onward, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't been working night shifts. I've been just solely on days, still working very long hours, but it was very good. And the circumstances surrounding that too was that I was the floor engineer. So in trades talk, the floor, you know what? That's what I was. Though the floor hand. Now, there's a good and there's a bad to that. The bad to it is that, I'll start with the good first. The good to it is that I was the floor guy, so I had somebody else watching over the whole entire system and having the responsibility of the plant that I'm in. So what that means is that, they were watching everything. They were up in the control room, so they had, the control of it, but they had a lot of responsibility, a lot of things to watch. And then me, which is the bad thing, I was on the floor, so they basically told me what to do and I had to do it. Now, for me being a floor hand, there's a good and there's a bad. And really, there's no bad. I'll just get the bad out of the way first. So the bad is that I was pushed pretty physically, right? Like whatever they told me to do, I had to go do it. Some of the jobs are not savory at all. But at the end of the day, I'm 19. I'm healthy. I'm athletic. That's not an issue for me at all. Really. Some days it was pretty brutal, but I never got pushed to my limits. And then the good thing was, and the thing that I've been very fortunate for all the way up until now, is that I was able to basically disconnect from what was going on, right? They were the ones who were watching it. I just had to do what I was told. Now, because of that, and because I was able to mentally disconnect to a certain extent, I make videos on this talking about how I still treat my job responsibilities with 100%. I'm never going to be lazy at work to be productive on my business. I don't like that, right? I don't think it benefits me in the long run. But anyways, I was able to then disconnect mentally, and I could still have, kind of a vision on my business and the things surrounding my business, right? My AI agency. And so the news that I just got here the other day, and I'm actually making this video 3.5 hours before I have to go on, but my senior engineer on shift is quitting. Now, I'm very happy for him. Circumstances surrounding him quitting, it's gonna benefit him largely, and I love him, right? So I'm happy for him, but because he is quitting, I then have to step up into the senior engineer position. I'm the person with the most experience now. We've had like 8 people quit in the past year and a half, 2 years. It's a very difficult place to get staffing where I work and where I'm from. I mean, I live in Northern Alberta. If you guys haven't been following, again, I live in the middle of nowhere. It's snowing right now. I just closed this so I can get better light. But it's like blizzarding out right now. We have like 3 feet of snow. It's ridiculous. But it's very hard to maintain people, right? Two and two together. So because of that, I've only been there for, not even a year, and I'm already stepping in the position of senior engineer. Now, because of that, there's two things. One of them is that I'm no longer going to be able to detach mentally. I'm going to have to keep, I'm going to have to be on the top of my game every single second, right? Because if I don't do something correctly, people can get very hurt, right? So I have a lot of responsibility now. Then number two, which is why I'm making this video and what I wanted to talk about, I'm going on the night shift. Now, if you guys have ever worked the night shift, you'll understand what I'm saying and the circumstances surrounding that. But I'm now having to work night shift, and I'm starting in like 3.5 hours here. I haven't slept. I didn't sleep very good today, and furthermore, I'm not stressed, but I'm just dreading going into night shift. So I'm not mentally at the top of my game. But anyways, what was the point I wanted to make? So night shift. I am no longer going to be able to do the output that I am able to do. And this comes from a couple different ways. The most obvious one is that I'm going to have to work nights and sleep throughout the day. Now, if any of you have read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, really good book on sleep and understanding it and how our body works and functions. Basically, working night shift is terrible for you. It's terrible for your body, which is pretty obvious if you think about it. But us as people, right? We're not meant to stay up throughout the night and sleep through the day. The sun, right, regulates our circadian rhythm. And furthermore, flipping our circadian rhythm by 12 hours in, a 1-day span is terrible for us, right? It disrupts it terribly. We can healthily change it around 1 hour a day. So think of that. You are switching your body healthily what it should take 12 days to do in 24 hours. So it's definitely not that. Then, furthermore, and how it directly impacts my output is that I am then not going to have my cognitive function for probably half of the week now. And I say this because, night shifts, when you're working night shifts, anything past like 10 p.m., in my experience, like 9 to 10 p.m., you're a living zombie, right? You're just trying not to fall asleep. You're just on autopilot, right? Sometimes I was able to crank out business when I was working nights for like that month I started this job. I was able to crank out business, but nothing that was hard. Literally stuff that was just like copy and pasting, like something that a zombie could do. That's the only stuff I'm gonna do. Actually, saying that, one of my goals this week is to formulate a plan when I'm on nights and how I can be as productive as possible. But that's that. And then the day that you get off, which my job treats as a day off for me, I'm not going to be there at all, right? I'm going to sleep for half the day, and then I'm going to be a zombie for the rest 12. And then when I sleep throughout the night, maybe I wake up in the morning refreshed enough to do my business. Now, and I say this with the idea of it's now or never. Now, I don't know if it's really now or never, but with my job, I am now a senior engineer and I'm working night shifts. That is one of the worst positions I could have been in for those two reasons I talked about before, right? I'm going to have to be on the top of my game now. I have a lot of responsibility. I can't just disconnect. Number two, I have to work nights. So with that being said, I just wanted to highlight how the time for me, I'm pointing at my whiteboard right now. I'm going to get another whiteboard here and list my goals for the week so you guys can see. But the time for me to succeed, the timeline and the window is now getting less and less to the point where I won't have negative consequences. Now I'm going to have negative consequences anyway, you look at it. But for the most negative consequence that I can have, I'm almost to that point. So how am I going to deal with this? The main thing I'm going to do to deal with this is to work so hard on my business that I can quit as soon as possible. I've been talking about this ad campaign for a while now, and we're really close. I've been saying it's going to be 3 days forever and ever and ever. I don't know if it's going to be 3 days now. I truly do think it is. We literally have everything done. Just the final touches on the ads and just recording the pre-call video, which I have to do. But all in all, I do think that we're going to launch in 3 days. And when we launch in 3 days, I do not see any reason why this campaign can't take us to 10K a month. I truly don't, right? This is from the systems of some of the top people in the space. This is from the advice of our mentors who are doing 50K a month. We've had a lot that has, come up to this. Now, with that being said, I believe I'm in a good enough position where I can quit very soon. And because of that, and this is the elastic band. I talk about the elastic band quite often. I don't have an elastic band here, but the tension between where you are and where you want to be, that gap is your motivation. Now, I talk about motivation and discipline a lot, but motivation is good if you have it, but you can't rely on motivation. Now, if your gap is so big that your motivation is so big, that can only positively affect you. And when I talk about Jordan Peterson, a lot of people don't know who he is. I'm from Northern Canada. He's actually born really close to me. I think one of the only good things that have ever come around where I'm from. But I say that tongue in cheek. But he talks about the same thing. You have to have the heaven and the hell. You have to have the heaven of where you want to be, and you also have to have the hell of something that's pushing you forward, right? He says this, you want to strive for God, and you also want to have the devil working in your favor, but not in front of you, right? You can't have the devil in front of you. You have to have him behind you, pushing you forward, right? Putting that incentive for you to move forward. So that's where I am right now, right? Like, this is really widening the gap. I was able to kind of coast on autopilot. One of my friends, or one of my boys in the Discord, by the way, if you guys aren't joined my free Discord, join it completely for free. All the value you could get. He was saying, like, now that I'm working a job, I see that my time is really limited and I have to put more output into it. When I would come home from school and I didn't have it, I would just scroll. And I felt the same thing too. And I think this is something that all of us have experienced to some level. But to put this from the job perspective, now, not only, because when I was working a job, it was just like, yeah, it was a crappy thing to do, but I was still able to do a lot of stuff on the business. Now, I have no routine, really. I have no set routine because I'm always going to be flipping from days to nights, and you never get used to that. I'm going to have no set routine. My schedule is never going to be the same. And the only way that I could remedy that at this point where I am is to quit, right? I'm now a senior engineer. I'm not ever getting demoted. There's 4 senior engineers. I'm never going to get demoted to a floor guy. There is nothing positive for me now in my A space except for quitting and moving to B. Nothing can bring me from A to B now. I am stuck at A1. That's the only place I'll ever stay now. The only way I can improve is to go straight to B. Now, this is that dread thought, and this is the preface of this video I'm making. But the way I'm remedying this, because really the only way I can is to quit, right? This is not going to get better. So that's a really depressing thought to have. But it's still going to push me forward, right? It's still going to move me in the right direction. That band is now stretched as far as it's going to stretch. And right now it's easy for me to talk about it because I haven't slept yet. I haven't stayed up all night. I haven't tried to, work and be at the top of my game while I'm working throughout the night. And I'm still worried for it. I'm really worried for it. But that's that. For you guys yourself, if you're in a similar situation, recognize that rubber band, right? If you're in a bad position, you're going to have that tension between where you are and where you want to be. If you're at the worst place you could be, don't fret, because if you use it in the right way, you're going to have the best amount of motivation that you can have, right? Which is, a good evil or an evil good. At the end of the day, it's the worst you could be, but then that's going to set you up the best for where you want to be. So that's that. How I'm going to manage this, and I haven't made my plan yet, but a few things I'm going to do on the days that I'm free, on the days where there's not much going on. The first half of the night, I'm going to use my brain power for good. The first half of the night, I'm still going to be somewhat cognitively active. I'm still going to be somewhat, what's the word? somewhat aware of what I'm doing, and I can, use a lot of glycogen, my mentor talks about, and Deep Work by, The One Thing by Gary Keller. He talks about how in the morning, right, our sugar chemical is what like gives us the energy to do things. It's highest in the morning, right? And that's our focus chemical, they call it. Because of that, in the morning, right, or that's where you have your most focus. Now, I'm gonna be screwed in the morning, but even if it goes on like a downward spiral, at 3 a.m., it's gonna be, if this is baseline, it's gonna be down here, right? Because you're supposed to be asleep. Now, let's say it's 7 a.m. when I don't work nights, it's gonna be up here. Now, I'm hoping that when it's 7 to 10 p.m., it's gonna be right here. So definitely not as high as here, but still enough where it's above baseline and I can do some things. But then the other half of the night, if I don't fall asleep and I'm gonna push myself, and the worst circumstance it comes to, the harder I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna do stuff that I can do basically without my brain input. So stuff I could just type out, stuff I could just copy, whatever. Nothing that I have to deep think about. And that's how I believe the only way that I'm gonna get the amount of output that I'm going to get otherwise. And that's really it. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm now at base 1. The only way I can improve is to quit. There's no way I can improve, and there's no way I can really go further down. I'm at the furthest I could go. The only way I could go from here is up, and that's by quitting. So with all that being said, I hate to ramble about my situation, but I want to give a lesson on how I'm handling it and how you guys can too. So again, if you're in this situation, only way up from rock bottom, or only direction when you're at rock bottom is up. Think about that. And furthermore, glycogen levels, use that to your advantage, and use that rubber band. Even if you're at rock bottom, you know what that means positively? It means that your motivation to do something is going to be the highest it ever is. That's never bad. So all in all, that's the video I wanted to make. Thank you guys for watching. If anyone watched this far, I hope you guys got the concepts, good concepts and lessons that I got out of this. But all in all, again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow my journey. Tonight is my night shift. And I work 3 night shifts in a row, which is brutal. I know some people work like two weeks of night shifts in a row, which is really bad. So I'm lucky in that aspect, but not looking forward to it. But yeah, make sure to follow my journey. See if I fall asleep tonight at work and I don't come back. Who knows? But yeah, all in all, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Make sure to join my free AI agency Discord, as well as my Instagram page, more daily updates on my AI agency. But that's that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Above all, stay wise. Even on night shift, stay wise.